do you find the poem dramatic or intensive? You can also talk about the ironies. Where you find ironies. 猜一下。
The dramatic part will be he laughed first and then he cried next line. And it changes, the emotion changes very fast. And
what do you think it means? Why does he laugh?
He laughed because someone like from very high position has asked for him for help or something. But he cried because he knows he's going to die because the weather is not going to be great or something like that.
Oh, so when he laughed, you think that he's happy about the order,
Yes.
that somebody pays attention to him from higher up.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Jamie? Any other ironies? Contrast? And when and can and what's your name? I forgot. Olan? No. Ivana. Okay. I thought of Dr. Murphy's daughter. Yeah. Okay. Olana. Ivana. Okay. Olana is Dr. Murphy's daughter. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, Jamie. Anything else? How about here we have different groups, right? You can also look at how the groups of people are set in contrast. The king and the old knight and Sir Patrick Spence, or Sir Patrick Spence and his subordinates, the lords, versus the nobles. I think their responses are different. So you can look at their differences. Yes?
Can I come back later? I have to think
Okay.
for a while.
How about Ivana first? You can answer the other questions, like, do you find any images impressive? Any lines which are repeated? Or what is not told? What is left untold here? Ivana? Sorry, I was connecting to YouTube, hoping that you'll get the music very soon. Okay, so what do you think? Could you say that again?
The repeated sentences are, oh, long, long may the ladies sit. Oh, long, long may the ladies stand.
And the effect?
Yeah.
What do you think the repetition means, or what effects does it create? With their golden comb in their hair, waiting for their own dear lords. Besides this repetition, do we have others? Make haste, my merry man. That's one repetition. Late, yesterday. That's another repetition. Okay. So, what do you think are the effects of these repetitions? Long, long, make haste, late, yesterday.
To emphasize.
Yeah, to emphasize what? The length of time, right? The ladies are waiting on the one hand, and the shortness of time they have to prepare for the journey. Okay, make haste. they need to hurry and go on to the sea very soon. Okay, so I think that there is a contrast here. Just as there is a contrast between where they are, on the sea, experiencing the stormy sea, and then the ladies with their gold comb, and they sit with their fans into their hands, so they are very comfortable. Okay, so this is the contrast between the men in action, the men in danger, and then the women being in a comfortable position, but then always waiting. This position of women waiting, I think is a typical position that women take in traditional poetry. That women get to wait a lot in traditional poetry. They are not the subjects. They are not the one to act, to pursue their desire. Next week we'll mention Shakespeare in Love. It's really an interesting film, although it's not very likely to happen in Renaissance, because as the film shows, women are not supposed to appear on stage. The theater, the word of the theater is only the word of men, but not women. Okay, so that's something really interesting about traditional women's positions. Okay, Jamie, have you thought about anything to say yet? No? What do you think about the difference between the knight's position, that the knight sit by the knees, sit at the knees of the king, okay, at the right knee, and then Sir Patrick Spens walks on the shore. Remember here we are trying to dig out the implied meanings. The songs are like, the ballads are passed on from generation to generation. Sometimes maybe the singers, the balladeers, are not aware of the implied meanings. But here we try to read it as a piece of literature. So we try to find out what's implied behind the actions, behind the story. And definitely for the poem to be passed down from generation to generation, there must be something deleted, and then what is left as a poem itself, must be some really condensed meanings. That's why we want to find out the intensity, the meanings, how they are condensed, through some contrast, through some details which can be seen as contrary to one another. Okay, so one contrast I find is that between the knight and Sir Patrick Spens. There are different positions. Just like what we said about the men and women. The men on the sea and the women at home, they are also in different positions. Okay, so Jamie, what do you think about the difference between the knight and the king? Have you ever sit at the knee of somebody else?
They're probably very close, and I think the king put his trust in the knight. So he believes that what everything the knight recommended, and
okay, yes. So definitely the king trusts the older knight, the elderly knight. Okay, and the knight is, I think you made two good points. What the other is, the knight is close to the king. But the knight is close to the king not just to sit by his side, but by his knees. I don't think he sits on the knees. He sits by the knees, at the side of the knees. So he's lower in position still to the king, right? And I think that sometimes my daughter likes to sit in that position, but she's like close to me and smaller, like something to, a person to protect, to look after. But for a knight to sit in this position, I think it's a kind of gesture of flattering. That the knight is not just close to the king. He positioned himself as being inferior. Okay, so it's a gesture of flattering. Okay. On the other hand, Sir Patrick Spence is far away from the king. He walks on the shore. He walks on the sand. Okay, so you can say that either he is isolated or he is free from the court, from the rule of the court. But then he has to follow the order. That shows his loyalty. Okay. How about Ken? Anything impressive or what is untold? Ken Lee. Now I remember completely the difference between Ken Lee and Ken Chen. I'll never make this mistake again. So, Ken Lee? Anything impressive? Besides what we have talked about?
Personally, I think it's make has my merry man here.
Yeah, why? Why is it impressive? Ken, let me put it this way. If your teacher asks you to go on a journey, like to fly to Iraq, and say that you have to go there to take a lesson, otherwise you cannot graduate. And you know that it's all a hypothetical situation. There is a war there. There is a war going on there. Will you go?
I would say make a haste.
So you say that to yourself? Make haste, make haste? Because you want the degree?
No, this is a very special experience.
Okay. I guess, so in that sense, yours is not a blind obedience. You don't obey just because maybe your teacher has the authority and you want to graduate. You obey, or you take the chance to learn more, from the special experience. Okay, but in Sir Patrick Spence's case, I think in our discussion we find out one thing, and that is why does the king want a knight to go on the sea? It's not explained, right? To sail this ship of mine, it's not explained why. There's no war going on, or it's not to send his daughter to get married somewhere else. The purpose is not explained. So, and that makes the order even more meaningless. Just an example of authority. There's no point to this order. Okay. And that's why Ken finds the line "make haste, impressive, because I think that Sir Patrick Spence realizes the danger, and whether he laughs because he's happy to win the attention of the king, or that he knows the irony of this order. You can laugh because you find the whole thing ridiculous, right? Okay, so I think there are two possibilities. He has strong responses, and that shows that he doesn't take the order without thinking, but still he takes the order, and he does it immediately, right away. So I think this line is indeed very expressive of his loyalty, and that's why it is important. Yes. Okay. The last and the most difficult question: when? What is left untold?
What is left
You know, the whole story is about an order given by the king, and Sir Patrick Spence takes the order, and then he dies, and the ladies waiting for their lords in vain. So what is left untold here? Yeah, what is not mentioned in the whole plot? Or, you know, to imagine this to be a film, what would have been shown in a film but not mentioned in this ballad? Well, this can be a really good question you can ask of your students if you do have the workstation, because there's no one definite answer, right? Although I have my answer, but that shouldn't be the only one. Yeah. Okay, when? You know, if it were an action film, what would you see? Or a disaster film?
In the story, and it didn't explain why the king chose Sir Patrick.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's one thing. Okay. No explanation of the purpose. Okay, and no presentation of the storm. No, if this were like Titanic, or the morning after, there were so many disaster films, and then you can imagine how the focus will be on Sir Patrick Spence's fighting against the stormy sea, you know, trying to survive and everything. But here, they die right after, you know, just after the lords say that no, we shouldn't go because there's a bad sign, and then after that, our Scot nobles does not like to wet their heels, their shoes, and then right after that, okay, they die. So the presentation of the death is very immediate. You know, and no description of how they die. You know, I guess there could be two reasons. One is that in the Middle Ages, when there's no telecommunication like ours, so they don't really know. They don't get the details of the shipwreck, the storm, so they just present the facts. That's one possibility. And the other possibility is, or maybe for the modern readers, death is predominant. Death is the emphasis, the focus of this film, of this ballad. So the focus is on death, but not on the heroic struggle. Yeah. Okay. Let me quickly get this over, and then we'll take a short break for the groups to sort out your organization, your members. Okay, and then we'll move on to Barbara Allen. Yes, there were some contrasts between like Sir Patrick Spence and the King and the Old Knight. Okay, and ironies when the knights suggest that Sir Patrick Spence is the best sailor that ever sailed the sea, you know, there are alliterations with the S sound. Okay, but the suggestion will turn him to be a death sailor. In other words, the line becomes some kind of an omen. You know, he's the best sailor at this point, but he will no longer be the best sailor because it's for sure that there will be a storm and they'll die on the sea. Okay, and also this is what I think Patricia pointed out, the contrast between the laugh and the tears. Okay, and now the images you can try to focus on, like blood red wine. The king, there is a suggestion that the king is cruel, you know, does not mind. He may have some, you know, he may even send the Sir Patrick Spence just to try out the ship. Now he wants to see if the ship is good enough. No, so he sends Sir Patrick Spence to sail at a bad time, in bad weather, to try out the ship. Okay, so this king may be, just a cruel king who has get a lot of people killed. Okay, so he's sitting there. The old knight is sitting there. So I think the repetition here gets you can get to read it more closely to find out more repetitions, like the lady sit, the king sit, the old knight sit, but not Sir Patrick Spence. He started out walking on the sand. Okay. So the contrast between the S sound, is something ironic, and then I think we have talked about all of this, but the question, who is this has done this deed? The fifth stanza, this question, this ill deed done to me to send me out this time, blah blah blah. Okay, so I think there is another contrast between the line make haste, and this question, because if the lines of make haste suggest obedience, then this is a challenge of authority, because he said that the command is an ill deed, although it's not for sure. It's not clear whether he thinks of the one who makes a suggestion or the king, but both of them are the same. Both of them together makes the command possible. Send the command, and then here with this question, Sir Patrick Spence challenges the order. Okay, because the order would literally turn him to death. Okay, so tears blind his eyes, but not his perception of his fate. He's aware that he's about to die. Yeah.